This video is a short description of the service class used by the Rule application. Rule is an application that allows the user to automate various actions in response to the changes in the phone state. For example, if the phone's location changes to the local library, the Rule application will automatically turn off the ringer volume and use vibrate only, all without any user intervention. The Rule application is comprised of a single Android activity and a single Android service. And this video is about the service, so let's look at the service. Let's get rid of this copyright notice. As you can see, the service extends the Android service class. In all intents and purposes, Rule service is really a sticky intent service. It has a background thread which runs a looper. To be more specific, the Rule service is really comprised of two parts. The first part is a collection of observables that observe the changes in the phone state, and then send these changes to the second part, which is a background thread that runs the Rule engine associated with these phone states. Let's look at the code a little bit more. We have some interval timers here on when we check location or activity. Here's the background thread that actually handles the Rule engine. It's got a name, of course. It has a looper because every time we find a new change in the phone state, we add it to the queue on the looper, and the Rule engine sequentially processes each change it finds. And of course, here's a service handler, which is how your typical Android service handler, which handles the background thread calling. Here's our subscriptions right here. We have 4 of them currently. We have one for location, we have one for activity, and we have the phone subscriptions, which basically handle all the notifications being sent out by the Android system via the intent actions. Here's our filter right there that this Android phone subscription is looking at. Let's first check out the onCreate, where this is all stuff is being set up. Typical onCreate, you've got your super onCreate. Here you can actually see the Rule engine being run. Notice it is being run in the main thread here. It's only run once in the main thread. All subsequent runs of the Rule engine are done in the background thread. It's run on the main thread here during the creation of the service itself to initialize it. Here is where I create the intent filter, where I am notified of all change. Let's take a look at those the intent filter itself. Here's where I create the intent filter. You can see all the actions I am being notified. Battery low, battery okay, camera button pressed, new outgoing call, new voicemail. There's over 50 of them here, and all these are being collected and processed. Here's where I create the service handler. I just create a new thread, start the thread, grab the looper, and then create the service handler, which is how I will communicate with this background thread from the service. Here's the subscriptions, which are subscriptions to observables, which handle everything. So everything these observables find, they call this thread up here with what they've found or what they've observed. Let's look at some of these subscriptions. As you can tell, these are RxJava observables. Here's the one for the phone. It's really quite simple. I pass in the service handler, which has the background thread running the rule engine. And here's the intent filter, which I just showed previously. I'm going to create an observable from a broadcast of these intent filters, and every time I get an intent here, I will send the handler a message with this intent as a message. Quite simple. This handles all the phone intent actions. Let's look at another one. Here's location. Location is a little bit different than the above Android phone one, because the Android phone one is the intents are being generated from the phone itself. The locations, of course, are being generated over the network using the Google APIs, the location APIs. So here we set up a location request. It's your standard GMS location request. And here's the reaction observable that watches for location changes. And notice right here that if the location coming in hasn't changed from the last location coming in, I essentially ignore it because I'm not interested. And then if I do get a new location, what I will do is I'll create a new intent. I will set the action to location. I'll put the actual location in an extra location, and then again call the handler with that intent. Activity, same kind of thing. I also have a timer up here that basically pings every so many intervals, which our user will select in the preferences. So that's a brief description of the service class. The next video will actually go into how the rule engine works.